it then. Okay, so you're telling me you've got 9 classes and you're doing Goldilocks.
With the kindergarten English language learners, yes. So it is for functional language. So hot, cold, big, little, tiny, numbers, under, over, in front of, behind, please and thank you, yes, no. And so each week when I do Goldilocks, I focus and I.
Yeah, sorry, somebody is waving at me. Yeah.
Oh,
it's all right.
Hello, whoever it is. And so we review the language and then we build on it. And each time I tell Goldilocks and Three Bears, we focus on those literary words or those literacy words.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so it's kind of fun. But then
is that kind of like a new territory for you? Well, I mean, like, did you have to be told the specific curricular demands that were needed?
Yes, that it was to focus on literacy. It's actually a funded project. Because it was a long study done in California with English language learning students. And so we've modeled it on that research to see whether or not arts in the classroom actually increase literacy and improve literacy.
Yeah.
So I am one of 4 arts facilitators going into the classroom. There's a puppeteer, there's myself, there's a visual artist and a dance artist.
Yeah, okay. That sounds like potential fun.
It really is. In fact, last week, one of the teachers sent me a picture of one of her students who had, during playtime, sitting at the table working with clay. He said, look, I did what Miss Linda showed us. There's a big ball of clay, a little ball of clay, and a baby ball of clay.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That's good, so, when you know that there's a knock-on effect after you've left.
Yeah. Yeah, and then as I was saying, I've got grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, and 2 split grades. And then I've got a couple of other teachers that I'm speaking with today.
Yeah.
So, and it's across our boards, and we're still virtual, so we do it all just like this.
Okay. So, how old are the youngest children?
4 or 5.
And how do you keep them involved during a Zoom session?
Well, it's only 30 minutes for one thing. So it's nice and short, and short, fast activities.
Yeah.
And so I did swoosh storytelling with them last week with Goldilocks, and it was really effective. The teacher said that they really stayed engaged, and they came right up to the monitor and they did their actions to the story. But we start with a physical warm-up to try and burn off some of the energy using the vocabulary words. And then I'll review the words. Then I tell the story and we act it out in some way. And then we sing Goldilocks Went to the House of the Bears twice. And that's usually the half hour.
That sounds good. So that's really quite a varied bunch of activities for them. Yeah, ideal.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds great. And I saw from Facebook that you're out doing live storytelling as well in your multicolored boots.
Yes. Well, it had rained for like 2 days. We've had beautiful weather this fall, like still in the low 20s, mid 20s, which is very unusual for us. And this particular day, it was like 8 and windy. At one point, the tent actually lifted off the ground, right. And it had rained for the day and a half before, so there were puddles everywhere. Super fun.
Well, that's the life of a storyteller. Flying tents one day and then malfunctioning headphones the next. No. At 7 o'clock in the morning with the bears prowling around outside. I'm sure that's part of the storytelling as well.
If it isn't, it should be.
Yeah. Well, no wonder you like telling stories about Goldilocks and the 3 bears.
Yes, yeah. I'll tell it from my vantage. That's a great idea.
Is it?
I should tell it from my vantage point this week. I'm Goldilocks.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
That's brilliant. Oh, Yes, I should. And I've got a class that I'm doing drama and media literacy with, and point of view is one of the weeks. So
Yeah.
I'll take something I'll take a story that's normally told, like a fairy tale, and then I'll change the point of view and have them change the point of view. And then how does that change the story for you? Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Fun.
I mean, yeah,
Thanks.
really, really good ideas. Well, what my plan was, I mean, unless you've got any particular questions or concerns, on Friday this week, I'm giving an online presentation to some teachers, and I was preparing it yesterday, and I thought, well, this sounds all right. And I thought, oh, I've also got to work out what I'm going to do on my Zoom meeting. Hang on a minute, why don't I try it out on the Zoom meeting? Because it's supposedly a 45-minute presentation. And I won't do it as a kind of formal presentation. I'll kind of talk about it as well as present it. But I thought that might be quite a good, kills two birds with one stone.
Yeah, I'm open to that.
And if anything comes up, you know, that you want to talk about along the way, or throw in ideas, very welcome.
All right.
I thought I could do that, and you can enjoy your breakfast. So
thank you.
Let me just get this sharing and ready. And I want to, yeah, share the desk, share the PowerPoint. Let's do that. Right. So if I go to the beginning and then start the presentation. Hello, I'm David Farmer, but you already know that. Good. So yeah, just to tell you about it, it's a primary school, or maybe a group of, yeah, it's for a federation of schools in somewhere like Cornwall, I think, in the south of England. And so I don't know what it's like in the UK, in Canada, but in the UK, you know, we have now we have federations which run independent schools. So I was booked to do this by a federation. So I usually start off by actually asking a question of the teachers who are taking part. So it's a good way for me to find out what stage they're at, what they know about drama, if they know a lot, and a good way of kind of like getting them involved at the beginning. Actually, I usually start off with, just reminded myself, with a warm-up game. And usually I play either 1, 2, 3, or I play, what's the other one I do? Oh yes, circle and cross. Circle and cross is a really easy one to play online. Do you know that one? Or would you like a reminder?
Yeah, I'm blanking on 1, 2, 3 also.
Yeah, okay. So we'll do both of them. Sort of, yeah, that's fine. So circle and cross was a game that was taught me by Augusto Boal, who was a Brazilian theatre maker. And it was a great way for just breaking the ice. And it's very, very quick, and it just gets everybody involved. So it works in a live setting, but it also is okay online. So the idea is you say to everybody, can you hold up your right hand? If they're kids, they might not know what their right hand, so you can just say a hand. And with your finger, I would like you to draw a circle in the air. So can you just draw a circle in the air? Fantastic. And then you make some comments, and yeah, best not to look at yourself doing it because it can get confusing. Okay, so that's the first part of the game. Now the game is called circle and cross. So now hold up the other finger, and with this one, you're going to draw a cross. Okay, just draw a cross in the air. I used to do a cross like this, and it didn't kind of bother me, but then it was pointed out to me that some Roman Catholic people might think it was a kind of religious symbol. So I now do a kind of that kind of crossing something out kind of cross.
Oh, okay.
Which kind of gets around that. Okay, so then, of course, it's called circle and cross. So we're going to try and do the two at the same time. So with your first finger, your right hand, can you draw a circle? And with your other hand, can you draw a cross? Very simple, a circle and a cross, a circle and a cross at the same time. And if you're doing this in a group and you see everybody on the screen, it's usually quite funny because everybody goes a bit wrong and laughs. And especially in the classroom, if they're doing it with other kids around them, then, you know, it's a real giggle. Grown-ups as well. So that's not the end of the game, because now we're going to see what you're like with the fingers crossed over. Not like this, but I want you to use, with your first hand, which was your right hand, I want you now to draw a cross. And with the other hand, can you draw the circle? A cross and a circle this time. Okay. And then I usually ask people, which one of those was easier for you? Was it the second one or the first one? Second one. Yeah, so that probably means you're right-handed.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's easier to do a cross with your right hand. You don't really need to think about it. But when you do it with your left hand, because you don't write with that hand, it's a bit harder to do. Anyway, it's just a very quick game. Just to wake people up, usually makes them laugh. And then you kind of got everybody looking at you. You've got their attention without having to shout or anything else. So then the 1, 2, 3 game is a little bit more complicated. In live situations, you play it in pairs. And so we can be a pair. So what happens is we're going to count to 3 over and over. So I'll say 1, you say 2, then I'll say 3, and then you say 1. Have you played this before? Do you remember it?
Yeah, I think we played it last month, actually.
Yeah, probably. So let's just have a reminder. Are you ready?
Yes.
1,
2,
3.
1,
2,
3.
1,
2.
Okay, so then once they've had a go at that, you then add in the clap. So instead of saying the number 1, they're going to clap their hands. So it goes
2,
3, 2,
3,
and so on. And then the third stage is where you add something else in, and I usually add bending your knees, which is quite good because it means they have to stand up in a live situation. But in a Zoom situation, if they stand up, you probably see their tummy. So you have to remind them to move the computer or the screen. So, you know, then it kind of gets fun because it all goes wrong. And I was sort of struggling with how to do this on the Zoom. And then I came up with a way of doing it. And the simple way is that I'm one partner and everybody else is my partner. So if you've got a whole screen of people, they can all play it as my partner. So I say 1 and everybody says 2. I say 3 and then everybody says 1. And that there is a bit of lag, obviously, and you have to kind of allow for that. But actually, it works quite well, and it means that everybody gets involved at the same time. You could, of course, go off into breakout groups, but that, I imagine, doesn't really work with 4-year-olds.
No, we can't do breakout rooms unless there's an adult in each room.
Yeah. Plus, they'll probably go off and play with their teddy instead of, you know, doing what they're doing.
They're actually in class.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I'm on a big monitor in the front of the room.
So you could actually, then they can play it with a partner. They can just turn to the person next to them, and you can ask one of the teachers to allow you to see what's going on, you know, maybe through one of the computers to get an overview of the class or something like that.
Yeah, I think what I might do is model it with the teacher.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And then I could do it me with the whole class, and then
Yeah.
I could do partners,
Excellent.
especially for the younger ones.
Great. Well, there you are, 2 games. So I normally play one of those, and then I go on to this, and I just get people to type into the chat window reasons why they might use drama, or even if they haven't used it again, why do they think it might be useful in the classroom? And in this case, because of the theme, how could it be useful for writing? What do they think? And so it usually takes them a minute or two to start thinking of ideas and then start typing them in. But that's, that's a nice thing to do. And usually they come up with some ideas that I hadn't thought of, as well as ideas that I have. So then I go on to my next screen, where I explain that I've written down some of my thoughts about why I use drama. And, let's see if any of their ideas were the same or different.
Can you advance the screen so I can see? I still only see your first.
You only see
slide.
The first screen. Oh, really?
Yeah, because well, you didn't start the slideshow. You just brought up your PowerPoint.
No, I actually have started the slideshow.
Oh, no.
So what I'll do is I'm going to stop the share, and I'm really glad that you told me that, because I think what I need to do, I'm pretty sure, is share again, and this time share my desktop. Because what happens is, when on a Mac, when you open in a full screen window, it jumps to another virtual screen. And I think that must be what happened. So I imagine now you can see my PowerPoint.
Yes, it says, why use drama? Why
use drama? So first of all, one of the most important things for me is that I think play is how children naturally learn before they come to school. And obviously I don't need to tell you about that, but children are wired to learn through interaction, through role play. They learn about the world around them through playing with their friends, their toys, and through their imagination. And then at school, we have for younger children, they continue to learn in that way usually, but we also bring in other methods. But children of any age respond really well to drama because it taps into their natural way of learning. It's active, so it gets them moving around away from their desks or around their desk. And it's interactive, which means they can talk to and play with their friends. It develops speaking and listening skills, as well as lots of other skills like cooperation and leadership, group skills, team skills. And it's multisensory. So it's not just about looking, not just about listening, but it involves all the senses and including kinesthetic sense. So, some people like to learn through movement, some are more visually orientated, and so forth. In drama, you learn through experience. You learn by doing things, by actually doing the things, even if it's in your imagination. And it's fun. So if you ask a child what they've done at school or what happened at school, usually the first thing that they say will be something funny, something that went wrong, or something that was fun or funny in the playground or in the classroom. And drama is fun. And it's been scientifically proven that if you have fun, it sticks in your mind more easily. In addition, it involves the emotions, and not many learning methods do that as well. So by playing characters and stepping into situations, students can become emotionally involved. I've talked about that one. And then just to say that drama really does work for all ages, as you know. So, from preschool right up through primary, secondary, and to adult as well. So then because it's quite a short session on Friday, normally I talk a bit about what drama games are, what drama strategies are, like freeze frames, but I'm going to go straight into freeze frames, and I'm specifically focusing on drama for writing. So I'm going to start off with linking drama to books, and in particular pictures from books. So talking about 3D living pictures and how people step in. I'll sort of go through this quite quickly unless you stop me, because I know that I've done this with you. So people stepping in as characters in the picture. Then I get them to try and guess what fairy story this might be, a fairy story told in 3 different pictures by a group. Do you remember, or can you guess? So at the beginning of the story, it's 2 people, 2 characters setting off on a journey.
Right. Oh.
And one of them is sprinkling something on the ground.
Is it Hansel and Gretel?
Hansel and Gretel. And then, of course, Hansel gets locked up in the cage. And finally, the witch in the German version gets put into the oven. That's what happened there. Okay. And also 3D living pictures are great for cross-curricular, because you can use them in history, you can use them with documentary photos, you can use them with art. And then I'll talk about this picture, which I often use, which is from The Snail and the Whale. Let's make the picture of the snail and the whale. Say who you are.
I'm the whale.
Okay.
I'm the firefighter in the bag who gives the instructions.
I'm the little girl back there who's watching the whale.
Beautiful.
Beautiful whale.
I'm the little boy who is watching the beautiful firefighter behind the whale.
I am the little nerd who is digging something. He's digging in the mud.
In front of the whale.
I'm the sea behind the gorgeous whale.
I am the firefighter behind the whale who is spraying water on the beautiful whale.
I'm the boy with the shovel. I'm the dog in front of the whale.
I am the firefighter in front of the whale, climbing the ladder.
I am the big digger behind the whale.
I am the white lighter at the very end of the coastline.
I'm the blue helicopter above the whale.
Fantastic. This is a good way to practice prepositions. For example, I am the dog in front of the whale, or I am the blue helicopter above the whale. Okay, so it's quite handy that I've got these videos, because it gives me a couple of minutes where I don't have to talk, and you know, they can watch and see something visual. On Friday, just to backtrack a bit, I did a training session recently with a school using this as a basis, but there was more in it. And in between each of the games or activities, I got them to actually do things. But on Friday, there's going to be really limited time because I've got 45 minutes with them, you know, which doesn't really give much time. So I thought I'd just focus on some very specific ideas. So the next one I'm going to talk about that you can use with freeze frames is action clip. And actually, again, I'm going to show a video. The last one was with some Austrian trainee teachers, and this one is with some Portuguese teachers. And it's all about bringing a freeze frame to
action.
Mommy, look, it's a whale. Let me go.
Yes, it's a
Hey kids, get out of here. It's too dangerous for you. But we are saving the world. You can help. We can work hard, very hard. We must help quick to save the world.
No, it's dangerous. It's please. It's dangerous.
Freeze.
Okay, so that's it. That's an action clip. And I explained that the reason I use these is that they're very quick, very short, and it starts from where the students are in that moment, in the freeze frame that they've made. So they don't need to rehearse anything. And the teacher is in charge. So if the attention is wandering, then she can stop the scene sooner. Or if it's going well, then it can go on for a bit longer. So far, do you have any comments or questions, Linda?
No, this is a wonderful review, because as I'm building my lesson plans, I want to keep the games and the strategies fresh and exciting for me.
Yeah.
And if I've got 7 or 8 classes where I'm doing the same activities over and over, it's hard to remember who you're doing what with.
Yeah.
So having this larger repertoire of games and strategies is really helpful.
Okay, good. Great. Good to know. So then I'll just talk about a few pictures. And this one is a book that's by an Australian author and illustrator called Sean Tan. It's called The Arrival. And he has written, or rather drawn, several books which have no words at all. And the story is just told through picture format. So they're quite well known in the UK, his books, particularly this one was popular a few years ago. And it has resonances with stories about immigrants, migration and so forth. And also to remind people that they could use ancient pictures as well, pictures from vases, pictures from here, the Bayeux tapestry, which was a famous tapestry in England around the time of William the Conqueror, which was a way that history was recorded at that time. So all of these are ripe for creating 3D living pictures. Looks a bit like they're eating pizza on the left-hand side of the table. And another picture that I quite like is called Work by Ford Madox Brown. He's an English painter from Victorian times, and this was a picture based on a street in London where they were installing sewers for the first time. So it's all about you've got the workmen there who are drinking their beer because water wasn't safe to drink before there was sewage. So people used to drink a lot of what they called small beer, which was kind of weak beer. You've got a little girl, a young girl with a baby, and you've got intellectuals, and you've got flower sellers and gentlemen on horseback, gentlemen and ladies on horseback. So it's a real kind of slice of society at that time.
I can't really see. Are those people sleeping on the side, on the right side?
Yes,
of the
that's right. So in it's worth if you can see the original picture online and you can zoom in. Those are actually Irish migrants sleeping by the side of the road. And what you can't really make out easily here is in the background on the right, you've actually got demonstrators who are demonstrating against the demon drink, the demon alcohol. So you've got, I think that's what that was about. So yeah, it's one of those pictures that has got so much in it. And it's used a lot in historical study, certainly in some schools in England, and it's based in a Manchester museum. Fantastic painting. So so what I'm leading on to here is an activity that I always use with 3D living pictures, which I will do with the teachers, so they'll get a chance to take part now. And so this is called Who Am I? And the idea is that you choose a picture with lots of characters in, and then the teacher can demonstrate by choosing a character, secretly choosing a character, or it could be an object or an animal, and speaking or acting as that character. And the class have to try and guess who the character is. So I'm going to pretend to be a character in this picture, and I want you to see if you can guess who I am. Oh, isn't it a lovely, lovely day? Look at that blue sky. Oh, I feel so free. And look at all those people. They're having such a good time. I'm not sure what they're all doing, but they seem to be having a lot of fun. Oh, do you like my ribbons? They're bright red. I put them on specially so that I could trail them behind me. So can you guess who I am?
I'm working on it.
I'll give you a clue. Look up high in the sky.
Oh, are you a kite?
I was a kite with a red ribbon right in the center there.
That was very tricky because I was looking for the humans. I like
Yeah,
that you chose an
exactly.
inanimate object.
I did say at the beginning it could be an object or an animal, but
It's
well,
7 o'clock in the morning, David.
Yeah, absolutely. Now the benefit of me doing this with a group is that hopefully one of them will catch on, you know, and work out who I am. But I thought I'd start off with that one just to show that you don't have to choose a human. But let me try one more.
Okay.
Okay. So this time it's not going to be an object, it's going to be a human being. And there are a lot of them, aren't there? Okay, I'm ready. I'm going to start now. Oh, this is interesting. I'm going to have a good look in here and see what I can find. Oh, what's that swimming about at the bottom? It's got claws on it. Oh, I'm not going to put my hand in there just in case I get a nasty nip.
I know.
But
it's one of the two girls at the bottom, and it might be the one bending over because it looks like her hand is actually in the bucket.
Yes, actually, that's good. Yeah. I could pretend it was that one. I was really thinking of the other one, but when I do it tomorrow, I'm going to choose that one, say it's that one, because you're right, she's got her hand in the bucket. So that makes more sense. And just out of interest, this painter, she's not very well known, but she always puts her mum in the picture, and that's her mum with the white hair on the far left.
That's so sweet.
It is sweet, isn't it? Okay, so, oh yes, this is something that I added yesterday. So what I thought would help primary school teachers to do this with younger kids is to actually give them some prompts. And so yesterday I came up with these ones, and maybe you could think of any, you could see what you think of these ones. So if children, because I thought it'd be quite hard for young children to just pretend to be somebody, but if they've got prompts, so they could say, I can see a dog nearby, or I can see a crab. I can hear my mum talking to me. You know, I'm not being one of the characters at the moment, but I'm just, you know, thinking that this could be a way in for them. Yeah. What do you think about that?
I like it a lot. I was thinking about too, I'm curious, especially in this picture.
I'm curious, did you say?
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah. Yes, I sometimes use I wonder.
Yeah,
Oh, I've got that.
Yeah, it's on there. Yeah.
I think maybe I wonder is better than I'm wondering, actually.
Okay.
But it's, you know, you can have a mixture really, can't you? So, you know, probably 4-year-olds would find this quite hard, but you could give them a picture from a story with less characters in.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, go on.
You could also lead them, right? Who in this picture looks happy? Who in this picture is in a boat? Where are the animals?
Yeah.
What animals do you see? So you could scale it way back. And does the dog on the left-hand side and the dog on the right-hand side, if they could talk to each other, what do you think they would say?
That's nice. I like that. Yeah. Hmm. And I suppose you could also actually choose a character and say who would like to pretend to be this character. All right, we're going to choose who should we choose? We'll choose the man who is riding a horse with a big hat on the right hand side of the picture. So, you know, maybe that would be a good way to do it. Who would like to pretend to be that man? What do you think of that, Linda?
I like that. And then because we tie our lesson plans to curriculum, and one of the drama elements is character.
Yeah.
And so what I might do is have 2 or 3 of the students play the same character and see how differently they interpret that same picture.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, then, so I'm going to move on and see what I've got next. Oh, yeah. So I'm sure I must have played this with you, because anytime there's a story, anytime there's a storyteller around, I usually play this game.
We're actually going to use this in some of my classes. Yeah, it was so much fun.
And actually, I'm just going to show you something on my website. Or it's actually, it was, let me go to, or let me just check or see what's happening there. Oh, a message from Linda and a message from Bonnie. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to go to drama, and I'm going to go to inspiring drama teacher. Just something I put on the page yesterday, which I'm going to scroll down to show you, which is this one.
He got back to his little spot. He built a den for him to sleep in, and I can't remember it now.
So
After he built his den, he hunted for.
I'm going to play that again because it's hard to hear what they're saying, but they're playing. I can't remember what happened next. So the girl who first talks is telling the first part of the story. So I'll play it again.
He got back to his little spot. He built a den for him to sleep in, and I can't remember it now. After he built his den, he hunted for.
So I thought that was quite interesting, because obviously what she's done is she said to the kids, put your hand up if you would like to be the next person. And I thought that could be quite good as a way of demonstrating and encouraging them to get involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I've got this very enthusiastic student on who's never been on our Zoom meetings. She's called Miss Stalker, but she posts on Twitter about the different things that she tries out. So 10-second objects, and then she played some storytelling games and whoosh stories with the kids. She also goes on TikTok and does short videos about different drama strategies, all based on my website, which is rather nice. So, well, we know that game, but I thought I would talk about it with. Have you played it with kids yet?
Not with kids, no, just with this group.
Yeah, so I guess, you know, the ones we saw just there were probably sort of like 9-10 years old, maybe. So younger than that, I think would probably find it rather difficult.
We could use it with known stories, though. So once upon a time, Goldilocks went walking through the woods and she came upon the house of the 3 bears, but I can't remember what happened next.
That's excellent. Yeah. In Canada, I may have mentioned him before, but have you heard of this guy called Pi Corbett?
No.
He's really famous in the UK, and he's he's developed his own method of teaching children to become storytellers and to improve their writing through storytelling.
How do you spell his first name?
Like apple pie, P-I-E.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I
Pie
spelled it with a
Corbett.
Y.
And you can find him easily on the internet. There's lots of videos about him.
Okay.
But one of the things he does, he is getting kids to retell stories. So he starts off with telling them, then he gets them to retell, and then he moves on to them inventing stories and changing them, you know, what would happen if she didn't meet the wolf, and, you know, or whichever story you're telling. Yeah, no, that's great about using a known story. It's a good point. So then I'm going to show them something about storytelling whoosh, which I'll play as a reminder to you because it's only a minute long.
A whoosh is a whole class storytelling activity where the students become all the different characters within the story. They become the places, they become the objects, and they become the action.
To begin with the whoosh, you need to have a large circle and an open space. So you need to make sure you've cleared desks, tables, bags out of the way.
Once, in a town called Verona, there were two great households, the Capulets and the Montagues.
The teacher narrates the story. They come up and act out a little bit of the story, sometimes with embedded quotations from the text, if they're confident to do that.
Oh, teach me how to forget to think.
Oh, teach me how to forget to think.
All the students take part in the storytelling, and when the circle becomes too crowded, the teacher will say the word whoosh really loudly, and all the students move back into a wider circle, and the action is cleared to start again.
Whoosh! On the other side of the town lived the noble Lord and Lady Montagues.
My students love doing a whoosh. They think it's the best thing in the world. It's really fun because sometimes a boy is chosen to do a girl's part and a girl's chosen to do a boy's part, or sometimes they're a tree, and they really don't care what part they get. They just love getting up on their feet and being a part of making that story.
That's it. Do you think that last lady was Canadian?
I don't know. She might have been. Is she?
I think she is, yeah. I can't remember where she's from, but it kind of, yeah, when I watched the original, I think she may have been, because with that video, they did a kind of joint project with UK and North American schools, I think. So, but you know all about storytelling whoosh, don't you? I presume.
Yes, we've done it, yeah.
A whoosh is a whole class
We've done
storytelling.
that one. Right, so, was that part? Let me just check to see what I've got going on.
A whoosh is a
Oh, yes.
David Farmer from Drama Resource worked with the children to create the Fairy Farewell for Queen Elizabeth.
Once upon a time.
The programme uses Shakespeare's Midsummer Night's Dream.
Titania and her fairies. Now she called for them and they came flying in. They were looking after a beautiful young prince. The fairies decided to make a crown of flowers for the prince.
Shakespeare is often seen as something that can only be accessed by secondary students, and you have to really sit down and analyse the text, whereas they're just great stories, and if you can get across a great story to children, then they can run with it.
Servant of Oberon, he saw Bottom and he thought, I'm going to cast a spell.
They turned him into a donkey.
And the donkey made a noise. She fell in love with a donkey. Wow!
So yeah, which is really nice because it shows that you see two different whooshes there, one with teenagers and one with 5-year-olds, who could equally get into the story, and it's the way you tell the story.
Yeah.
As well as, you can do that with fairy stories or any story that you like, really. Any thoughts on what I've shown in the last few slides?
That's good.
Yeah. So then I'm kind of actually using other people's videos quite a bit now. Do you know about Conscience Alley?
I'm not sure.
Alley. Well, I'll play a bit of it and then it will remind you.
Conscience Alley. Conscience Alley, also known as Thought Tunnel, is a useful technique for exploring any kind of decision, problem, or dilemma faced by a character. How? Choose a dilemma or decision that a character from a story has to make. Now, split the class into 2 groups. One side is for, and the other side against, as if each point of view is actually coming from the character's own conscience. First, give them the opportunity to think about, discuss, or jot down their opinions.
In the story Grandad and the Laundry Basket, Roger, the father in the story, is planning to put his own father into a laundry basket and leave him by the side of the road in Epping Forest. Do you think this is a good idea?
Pick a child to play the role of the character facing the decision or dilemma. Ask the 2 groups to line up in rows, facing each other, with enough space between them to create an alley. Now...
Oh, sorry. Have you heard of that before? Okay, I'm going to go back to it and finish the video for you because I didn't mean to do that.
In turn to put forward their particular point of view.
You should do it. Your father's making a real mess at the house.
You can't treat him like that. He's your father. You'll be able to go on holiday again.
He's a great friend to your son, Billy.
When the child reaches the end of the alley, it's now their turn to make a decision about which course of action to take. Top tip. It's very important when doing a Conscience Alley to make sure everyone can hear the opinions of all the children along the line. Why? Conscience Alley is a great opportunity to explore a character's mindset at a moment of crisis, and a powerful way of looking at all the different options facing them when making a decision.
Well, I thought about what you all said, and you're right. I can't do that to my own dad. He was so kind to me growing up, and he always helped me. I have to look after him.
Okay, there's a bit more to it as well.
Afterwards,
but I'll leave that there because that's the basic description of the technique. And that's used quite a lot in UK schools.
That's cool.
And again, it depends on the age of the kids. You know, you may need to prepare them. They may need to write down their thoughts about what advice they're going to give and so forth before you start. But we do have this thing about teaching persuasive language in UK schools, using persuasive language, and this is also good for that. So I'm going to whisk you on if you've still got time. You're not off to work yet?
Yeah, no, I've got a couple minutes more.
Okay, because I know you normally have to shoot off.
I do. I've got a phone call with a couple of teachers, but I've got another 5 minutes or so.
Okay, I'll zoom along. So roll on the wall. So what happens is you make a gingerbread man character, draw a gingerbread man character on a large sheet of paper and stick it on the wall. And you might write the name of the character at the top. So it could be Goldilocks, or it could be the wolf, or it could be the bears. I'm getting my stories mixed up here.
Okay.
You know, whichever story you're working on, Goldilocks and the wolf. And then you ask kids to write down thoughts about the character around the shape or inside the shape. So here's an example of one for Matilda by Roald Dahl. And here you've got Matilda is brilliant at reading and doing something ahead. Her favorite color is pink. She can be sneaky. She likes to play tricks on her dad and Miss Trunchbull and so forth. So the idea is that kids can come and write these up, and it can be revisited over a period of time as well. When I've done it sometimes with teacher trainee students, we've used post-it notes. So everybody has had a post-it note and they write it in their place. And when they're ready, they come and stick it up on the drawing. And this is, I found that it's a really good hang on, I'll just write down, I need to put in examples of what to write for roll on the wall. Yeah, it's a good lead in to hot seating or any kind of character work. So kind of like, it's a way of group thinking ideas about a character. And then it helps people who might pretend to be that character at a later point. And some teachers like to use it as a way to see how characters develop. If they're reading a book and you find out more about that character over a period of time. And you can do things like, you can have known facts about the character written inside the shape, and wishes and dreams written around the character, or any aspect that you like can be divided up in that way. So that is roll on the wall. And then I would talk a little bit about hot seating, you know, which is just being in roll. And I may talk about roll sculpture, although I'm thinking it might be too much to fit in. So individuals step into a circle and freeze in an abstract shape which says something about a character. So what happens, so you might take the character of Hamlet, and somebody steps in and they make this kind of shape, oh, you know, or somebody else steps in and makes this kind of shape, you know. So they try and show lots of different aspects by making different sculpted shapes about the character. So it could be, you know, a scared Goldilocks, a happy Goldilocks, a Goldilocks knocking on the door, or, you know, whatever. It's a bit harder to do with young kids, I think. But it's a good one for aspects of characters for older kids. And then reading this, I'm just realizing I need to rewrite it a bit. So when it says it can be recreated, the idea is that you can play it again, so that everybody's stepped in, then they step out. And this time when they step in, they should speak a thought of that character, which links to the shape that they're making. So my first shape, I'd probably step in and say, to be or not to be, that is the question. And the second one would be, have at thee, or something like that. And as I'm trying to link drama to writing, these could be written on strips of paper and organized into a poem in small groups or as a class. And I think that is going to be, I'm going to mention my website, of course, and then that will be the end of my presentation.
Well timed. No, it's really good. And I like the pace of it. I like that there's multimedia, so you're actually demonstrating what you get people to do, and an opportunity for them to participate. I think it's really well done.
I mean, it's quite good doing it with you, because I've realized that even with that amount, I'm not going to fit them all in, you know, so I think I will revise it slightly before Friday.
All right. Well, let me know how it goes.
Yeah, thank you.
No, you're quite welcome.
Yeah, I'm glad to refresh your knowledge and teach you a couple more tricks.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to go off and call some teachers and tell them how brilliant I am by sharing these games with them.
Okay, that's what it's all about. Okay then, Linda, thanks very much for coming along.
You're welcome. We'll see you next month.
We'll see you next month. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Cheers then. Bye.